The 7th episode of Season 5 feels like the turning point for the entire story. After the intensity of Episode 6, it finally seems like the series has returned to the same chaotic energy that made the earlier seasons so popular. And with Homelander receiving the upgraded V serum in those final moments, it looks like his biggest dream may have finally come true. He no longer just sees himself as the strongest supe alive, he now believes he's something far greater. So today, let's go over my theories and predictions for what could happen next in Episode 7. And just a warning, there will be spoilers throughout this breakdown. Homelander's transformation after taking V1. The moment Homelander received the V1 serum completely changed the balance of power. For the first time in a long while, Butcher looked defeated and uncertain. Now that Homelander has the serum inside his system, there are several possibilities for what it could actually do to him. Some fans believe the serum might remove his powers entirely and force him to live as a normal human. In a way, that would probably be the cruelest punishment imaginable for someone like Homelander. But after looking closely at the trailer footage, especially the scenes involving him in the Oval Office, I honestly don't think that's where the story is heading. Instead, I think the V1 will make him even stronger than before. Not only that, but it could also protect him from the virus and potentially stop him from aging altogether. There were also theories saying the serum might have been damaged after Soldier Boy used his powers on Bombsite, but I don't believe that either. Everything points toward Homelander becoming more powerful, not weaker. And if that's true, then the next episode could show us a completely different version of him. Before this, Homelander constantly struggled with insecurities. He feared not being strong enough, feared losing control, and feared mortality itself. But now, he may believe he has finally surpassed every limitation. That's what makes him even more dangerous. With Sister Sage gone, Black Noir dead, and the Deep no longer trustworthy, the Seven has basically fallen apart. And without anyone around to guide or manipulate him anymore, Homelander could begin acting entirely on impulse. I think we're going to see him openly abusing his power and punishing anyone he sees as disloyal. In his mind, he's no longer just a superhero. He's a god, and gods demand worship. The trailer also showed him inside the Oval Office, which makes me wonder if he's about to take complete control politically as well. There's even a chance he could remove the president entirely if he feels challenged. Characters connected to the government, including Ashley, might suddenly become targets if Homelander believes they stand in his way. Could Homelander turn against Soldier Boy? One of the biggest questions going into the next episode is whether Homelander will eventually see Soldier Boy as a threat. At the end of Episode 6, Soldier Boy suddenly changed his attitude and handed over the V1 serum, saying that Clara would have wanted it that way. But even after helping him, Soldier Boy also made a statement that clearly stayed in Homelander's mind. "You don't deserve to live forever." That line could become extremely important. We also learned that Soldier Boy may still be capable of draining V from supes, even after the introduction of V1. If Homelander starts believing that Soldier Boy could eventually take his power away, then there's a strong chance he may try to eliminate him immediately. Either he attempts to kill him outright, or he locks him away again before he becomes a future problem. Homelander's obsession with superiority wouldn't allow him to tolerate anyone who could threaten his immortality. Even if Soldier Boy is technically family, Homelander has never handled competition well. And now that he believes he's untouchable, he may decide that nobody else deserves to stand beside him. The Deep's possible ending. Another storyline that could become very important is what happens to the Deep. After killing Black Noir and supporting the disastrous oil pipeline project near Alaska, the character has completely destroyed any safe place he once had. The moment he killed Noir, you could instantly see fear on his face because he understood exactly what Homelander would think about it. Homelander already viewed him as weak and unreliable. Now he's also responsible for ruining a massive public plan involving Noir's image and influence. That alone could place a target on his back. But the bigger issue is the ocean itself. The Deep always believed the sea creatures were the only beings who truly cared about him. However, after helping approve a project that caused catastrophic damage to marine life, even the creatures of the ocean may turn against him. Jeremy's final words hinted at exactly that. The fish know what he did, and they may want revenge. What makes this theory interesting is that it would create the perfect ending for his character. Instead of being killed by Homelander like many expected, the Deep could end up hunted down by the very creatures he once claimed to protect. It would leave him completely isolated, rejected by humans and rejected by the ocean as well. Honestly, that feels like the most fitting conclusion possible. How could the boys defeat Homelander? Now comes the biggest question. If Homelander truly became immune and nearly immortal after taking V1, how could anyone stop him? There are still a few possible ways. First, I think Butcher may finally visit the Legend again, and we could see a darker moment inspired by the comic storyline involving the Legend's death. Even though Homelander allowed him to escape earlier, I don't think Butcher will be nearly as forgiving. But the real focus is figuring out how to bring Homelander down. One possibility is still Soldier Boy. Since his powers appear capable of removing V from other supes, he might eventually become the key to weakening Homelander. Maybe he regrets giving him the serum. Maybe he realizes what he has unleashed. If that happens, Soldier Boy could switch sides again. However, that outcome would feel very similar to Season 3, so I'm not completely convinced the writers will repeat it. Another theory involves Sister Sage. Earlier in the season, it was hinted that Sage had intentionally sabotaged her own version of V1 because she didn't want Homelander becoming immortal. But now that she appears separated from him, there's a possibility she could finally create a completed version of the serum for someone else. Maybe Butcher, maybe Starlight, or maybe even Ryan. If Butcher and Starlight took V1, it would completely contradict everything they stand for because neither of them actually wants immortality. But sacrificing their humanity to stop Homelander would add emotional weight to the final conflict. There's also the possibility that Sage develops a temporary version of V1 instead. Something powerful enough to fight Homelander without permanently changing whoever takes it. And finally, there's Ryan. If Ryan returns and receives an enhanced version of the serum, he could become the only person physically capable of matching Homelander's strength. We already saw hints of this dynamic earlier in the season, but bringing Ryan back into the fight alongside the boys could finally shift the balance. I don't think the final battle will happen yet in episode 7, but I do believe this episode will focus heavily on preparation and strategy. The boys know they're running out of time, and now that Homelander believes he's unstoppable, the war is about to become even more dangerous. So yeah, those are my theories and predictions for episode 7.